Thank you for tuning into The Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Arael Marrocco. Peter is the director of the 12th Division of the ACIO, Advanced or Alien Contact Intelligence Organization. Jessica is a galactic liaison and interdimensional seer. Together, they will discuss the most current updates from the ACIO, Council of Five, and other extraterrestrial sources. Make sure to post your questions and comments below. Disclosures, insider, intel that keeps you updated with planetary changes.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We have a special report from Peter the Insider, and we are going to talk about some of the current events that are happening that Peter talked about back in 2020, which is particularly the Escape from Tarkov game. And it relates to what's happening right now with the Wagner Group and the impending civil war or overthrow the government or whatever they're attempting to do. But I'm not going to speculate. We're going to read the news and let everyone hear what has been said about it. But furthermore, that we've already had this discussion in 2020, and yet another instance where Peter had told us in advance, even though it took a few years later, it's 2023, this information is coming to pass. So without further delay, here is Peter the Insider.
So I want to say hello to you, Jessica, and to all of our regular and maybe not so regular listeners. And you know, this is kind of weird because even you was just kind of a little bit skeptical, you know what I mean, once I talked about that. And because we talked about that when? In January 2020, so it's approximately 3.5 years ago. And I was like, oh my God. Nobody believed that. I don't know why. Nobody believed that. And I'm like, why in the world? Or let's say I was like, and that's it. Right now, here we go again, if you want to call it that way. And that's the case. Nobody believed that, and I'm here. We can talk about it briefly, or what?
Yeah. I mean, we have been talking about these things. I know it was really hard for people to wrap their head around it, and a lot of times they just wanted a more positive outlook of the future. But that doesn't mean that the future isn't going to come and things aren't going to manifest. And so, there's a separation. So you keep intel as intel, and you keep someplace like meditation or something where you can calm your mind and help you to take in all this information and understand that, regardless of everything's going to be okay. You manifesting that and keeping calm as the information comes through, as the things, are manifesting, as Peter's already seeing it from a future perspective and getting back to us. And It's not like, you're not saying that you're a psychic or anything like that, but you're actually proclaiming that how do you get your information? Are you traveling into the future? What is your mode? Or do you have intel from working with the government? What is your means?
No, I am not traveling to the future. I am not working with any governments, any sort of governments or so. Because we as ACIO, as organization, what is Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization, what is official name for alien contact intelligence organization. And that's the stuff, even how we as a regular people are comprehending the time. You know,
So you have technology. You have technology.
yeah, because for me, even for me, it was like, what in the, it was next level crap once I first time encountered the real way how time, quote unquote, works. That mean or what means that try, all of you listeners, try to imagine yourself be in the center of some sort of ball or something like that, and there are countless, literally like infinity of possible case scenario, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And every one of them, every single of them are literally happening simultaneously, and according of our choices, some of them will happen, that means will manifest in our reality, not reality. We in ACIO are using the term context of existence, and once we are not doing or making certain choices, okay, that outcome, then outcome will be different. You know what I'm trying to say. That's it.
Well, in addition to,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
In addition to that, you go on missions. So you
oh
are traveling. So how are you traveling then? Is it
do you know what?
lateral?
Do you know what? This is the stuff when or situations when whoever is responsible for that, for our, let's say, moving to the missions, it is not ACIO HQ only. They are like in between 10 or 15%. Many of, we've got certain, let's say, duty for many organizations, not only ACIO. And it is like, yeah, we are here and there making jokes whatsoever. And it's like, okay, situation is unstable. Maybe it will be good when you will help. I mean, some of the authorities are talking about it for a few days, and then bam, like punch in the face, and you are, I mean, not you, but I've been a member of certain teams, not one team, but teams, groups. I mean, like crew, and I'm like, what? All of a sudden, and this is pissing me off, and I will not watch my language, because it's like, this is next level crap. No, it is not. Literally, it is pissing me off. Okay, no, I'm like, what? And most of the time, once I am, let's say, this phrase, like once duty calls, I cannot make a show. Sometimes it's for very long period. You know that.
Yes.
And that's the problem. In addition, I have no goddamn clue how long it is in this context of existence. If we are talking about days, weeks, months, or maybe years, I have no goddamn clue. No. And that's the problem. Because nah, I don't like that. And to be perfectly honest, we are, or we can be, my bad, we can be pretty much happy. We can be really happy that there is, let's say, escape from Tarkov-ish case scenario, because, I mean, going on, really ongoing, because if somebody likes it or not, Russia is superpower, period. The problem is that people, they are leading war in Ukraine. I'm not saying I'm accepting it or something like that, but they don't know how to do it properly, and so on and so on and so on. But there is one thing. We can be happy that it is this scenario, materializing, I mean, escape from Tarkov's case scenario, because we were way too close for comfort for metro case scenario, and that will be end. Period. It will be total war. No, don't laugh. It will be end of the world.
I knew that they were definitely close in topic because it's coming from the same region, but also all right. So getting back to your travel, and like
Okay.
you say, suddenly, like spontaneously, we could be talking, and then you say, "I have to go," and I won't hear from you for a couple weeks or a month or
And
maybe longer.
and that's the problem. I am, once again, I will not watch my language. I am pissed because you are not only helping me to make shows to reveal information and so on, but I am considering you as a very close friend of mine, and sometimes just like that, out of nowhere, and I need to go. Nah, this is not how friends should behave towards each other. And but
it's
you
business.
know,
It's it's the work, and sometimes then things are hitting the fan over here, and I'm like,
oh
well,
yeah,
where's
oh
Peter
yeah.
at? Because we need to find out what's going on. Yeah, because well, let's look at this. I just for the sake of the public, a lot of people think that the type of they're outdated. Maybe they don't realize that things have gotten more technically advanced, but they usually consider what you do is tapping into the looking glass technology. So you do something beyond that, right? Or is it the same?
Stop, Jessica. I like your style of humor, but looking glass technology, what? This is something like we are talking about, like, okay, like right here, right now, with our nowadays technology, and you are talking like, hey, this is something great, and you will show me wheel. No, I mean it for real. What? Looking glass technology is
It's almost primitive compared to
yeah,
what you have now.
absolutely primitive. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wheel compared or in comparison with our technology is perfect parallel for that.
Right, and
Oh,
that's how you have been so
oh
accurate.
yeah. But give me a
Yeah.
second. No, not us, not ACIO, or let's say mankind, humankind, ACIO. No, of course not. Everything. Okay. In between 95, 97, 98% of, let's say, we are calling it like big boy stuff, like really something what is really advanced. It's not from Earth, it's not from our, I don't know, timeline, reality, universe, space, universe, dimension. No, simply not from our context of existence. No, no, nothing.
But when you travel to another context of existence, or similar to, like, was it like a parallel, something that is influencing our reality?
And that's the problem, because it influenced, oh my bad, it is influencing our reality most of the time. Yeah.
And like the metro reality, you actually went into the future. This is through that they gave you the ability to travel and to observe, right? You don't change anything.
Yes, but do you know what was crazy? It was so weird. It was really Matrix-ish, and maybe many people will be like, what is Insider talking about? Look, it was so weird because it was like, okay, it's fine. I don't want to say fine, because it was some sort of crazy-ish post-apocalyptic case scenario. But once we were deep down under, buried deep down under, it was like, what? It was some sort of Victorian era. I mean, how can I say that? Like furniture, the way how people were dressed, for example, but not only dressed. How can I say that? Like
1920s.
The language. No. Victorian. I'm talking about.
1800s.
Yeah, like second half of 19th century. The way how they were speaking, the phraseology, do you know what I mean? Everything was weird. Then it was like steampunk era, so late 19th century, maybe early 20th century, something like that. Then it was in between First and Second World War or something like that. Then it was Cold War-ish. Then it was approximately what we know from nowadays in our reality. And then it was way in the future. And it was literally like you just opened the door or something like that, and everything was so totally different. What in the world was wrong with that reality? Oh my God. Oh my God.
And that just goes further to prove that time travel and technology was introduced to the 1800s, like we said, with Mobius.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, what was wrong with that? I don't want to say reality. Let's call it context of existence. And it was metro-ish, because once you go above, so on surface, it was crude. Either highly irradiated, or I don't know, like chemical poisoned, or biological or biochemical warfare. It was literally, it was crapped. Do you know what I mean? Damned. Like, nah, you cannot exist there on long term. How can I say it? Long term way. Like, you cannot. No. No.
Yeah, you said the electromagnetic field was off, so there was
everything was screwed. Radiation, chemical, biological, biochemical, and yes, as you said, electromagnetic, everything was screwed. Like, because if you have electric, magnetic, or electromagnetic like anomalies, it is influencing human body too, and not only in a human body, animals, plants, everything. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't know what happened in that their context of existence, but it was crap.
It sounds like it was a total war. Like they unleashed everything.
Like, because please, people, we need to make clarification to listeners. They are not listening us regularly, or to us regularly. Total war is pretty much another term for World War III, but because if is in term world, and it's like world war, people are scared. So in army, in technology, in And it's like, we need to avoid the term, do you know what I mean, World War III or something like that. And they simply start to use total war, you know. But just by the way, it's a correct term, because whatever kind of next generation, next level warfare they will use, whoever will use it, it will be end of the world as we know it. Just by the way.
Right. Yeah. Or the people survivors underground, and that's about it. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
And
are right.
but that's a scenario. That's a potential if we're not careful, and we don't pay attention to what's going on, and we aren't willing to hear what's happening, so we can bring this along. Now, we also talk about the ACIO for new listeners, that there's a reveal that's happening through video games. And so there's multiple examples that we've had in the past, and introducing corporations that actually do exist and then have been interfering with our reality, manipulating our reality, and also bringing in wars and control systems and so forth. But so let's get into what's going on right now in the world. And as I said, I'll begin to share the screen, and we can start to look at some of the things we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is the show. This is the show that we did. So you can see it's 1/17/2020. Russian government resigns, and a bleed through reality. This is Escape from Tarkov.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep, and you can see, and so we highly advise people, if they want to know more about what was said earlier, to listen into this show, and then you'll be able to see this comments down here too. People are interested in understanding about the bleed throughs, and also maybe information from before. But there's a lot of activity, going on in that part of the world. And also there's the Russian government resigned. So you see, it was kind of a pivotal time for this to come up.
And just by the way, there is one very important thing. And this thing is that it was just literally few weeks before, I don't wanna even spell the letters, before pandemic hit the fan, hit the world. And it is just a little bit, few weeks once pandemic, it's not just kind of, let's say, all over the place, all over the world, like headlines and titles and whatsoever. You know what I mean? And that's it. So just by the way, okay, it is very closely tied and connected to that. Just by the way, okay. If you want to have some more in-depth and detailed info. And
that's a good point.
Sorry, go ahead.
Very, very good point, Peter. And so it's almost like there was a shift of power that occurred at that time. The Russian government resigns. Putin, of course, is like a forever leader in that area. He's proclaiming that he didn't need Minister Dmitry Medvedev, and announced on Wednesday that he was proposing sweeping reforms that could extend his decades-long grip on power beyond the end of his presidency, which I think he was never planning on giving up. And so there'd be no voting or anything like that. He would just remain their lifetime leader. And so, that came up during the show that we did. Yeah. And like as you said, Peter, there was what didn't just happen in this part of the world, but around the world, it impacts everything. So there's a shift in power, and it reveals through different things. And so the East suddenly, became very prominent. And then, what happened in China, and then what happened in, around the world in the EU and the World Health Organization, so forth. So, yeah, it was kind of like an overwhelming time period. And you told me 6 months in advance about the lockdown, and I had
and nobody.
sorry
for interrupting you, but nobody. Sorry, I will be honest. Okay, nobody, including you, wasn't believe me. It was like, nah. How in the world somebody will force the whole world to
lock down? All right, so you were saying that, yeah, I didn't believe it because I couldn't imagine how you could have the entire world. I mean, maybe one country.
So sorry, Rolf. This need to be edited. Yeah, I will say that even you, Jessica, wasn't believe in me, because it was like impossible to imagine how somebody could or can the whole world to force to freeze activity, or how can we say it?
Yeah, lockdowns.
Yeah, lockdowns, and then 15-minute cities, and so on and so on. Hey, Jessica, I told you, nobody believed me.
Right.
Sorry.
And well, I just couldn't wrap my head around it, and the whole idea that people were going to be obeying to that degree was absolutely shocking. But Peter, I traveled over to Europe at that time, and then I got stuck there. I didn't want to travel because it was mayhem, and I almost got in trouble. But they couldn't do a whole lot because it was an unusual situation, and it had never happened before. But it was tricky. It was very, very tricky, and it kind of turned the world upside down. So I believe that this sort of was the indication of a major change on the earth, but we kind of didn't see the sequence of events, and now when we look back at it, it makes sense. So going back to what's happening right now we have someone actually challenging what's going on. And here is the Wagner Group, which maybe I should remind everyone who the Wagner Group is.
Yeah, that will be pretty much good point.
We'll just do a Wikipedia page. So they're a private military company, a network of mercenaries, and a de facto private army of Yevgeny Prigozhin.
Yeah.
A former close ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. So he was an ally, and it operates in support of Russian interests, receives equipment from Russian Ministry of Defense, and has used the Ministry of Defense installations for training. While the Wagner Group itself is not ideologically driven, various elements of Wagner have been linked to neo-Nazi and far-right politics. It is widely speculated that the Wagner Group is used by the Russian government to allow for plausible deniability and obscure the true casualties and financial cost of Russian foreign intervention. The group came to prominence during the Donbas War in the Ukraine, when it helped pro-Russian separatist forces of the self-declared Donetsk and Luhansk People Republic. From 2014 to 2015, its contractors have reportedly taken part in various conflicts around the world, including the civil wars of Syria, Libya, Central African Republic, Mali, and often fighting on the side of forces aligned with the Russian government. Wagner operatives have been accused of having committed war crimes in areas where they are deployed, and accusations including robbery, rape, and so forth, as well as torturing and accused deserters. They had played a significant role in the Russian invasion of the Ukraine, reportedly deployed and assassinate Ukrainian leaders, among other activities, in which has recruited prison inmates from Russia for frontline combat. In December 2022, United Nations Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications, John Kirby, claimed Wagner has 50,000 fighters in Ukraine, including 10,000 contractors, 40,000 convicts, and others put the number of recruited prisoners to more than 20,000, with the overall number of PMC forces present in Ukraine estimated at 20,000. So, you know, we're looking at a substantial military group.
Yep.
That is asserting themselves as, you know, there's a lot more here. I mean, I could read on, but we'll let you read. They've even been, you know, in different parts of the world, you know.
And that's from my point of view, that's the largest problem.
That they've been in different parts of the world.
Oh my God. They are controlling, for example, silos with ICBM's nuke warheads in Wisconsin and Alaska. That's absolutely crazy.
Silos in Wisconsin. And this is Russian-owned land?
Give me a second. No, you okay. The Wagner's group got small, very well organized, quote unquote, sleeping cells in between 7, 8, maybe to 12, 15 people, and nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows. Nobody knows who they are, where exactly they are, when they will be activated, what is their missions, and so on and so on. It's crazy, man.
And so the sleeper agents, and even they don't know.
Give me a second. That's the reason they are so very well trained that they don't know about each other, right? Even, for example, the group, once they are like 15, 17, 18, is divided to 2 or 3 smaller groups, because it's like 4, 5, 6 men, and at the most is one sub unit, you know, because the larger unit is, the bigger risk is. You know what I'm trying to say. It is this is bad. I mean, once this started to happen and everything is occurring, and it's like, oh my God, I don't like the situation. I mean, like, not at all. Nope. Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of that new Ben Affleck movie that we were talking about. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Hold on a second. The one where they activate people.
Because look, where in the world they are. Look, Syria, you know, what they are. Syria, you know, Padrasha, you know, Mozambique, where they are everywhere. You know, it's absolutely crazy.
So we were talking about the hypnotic movie. I've talked about it earlier. I think when I did a show with Anthony Zender, we touched on it briefly, and where they can easily activate somebody without even saying anything, just like one word, and you can get to see how they do it. It's very sophisticated, and there's specific people that have the ability to do that. So
I know.
Yeah, so there's like a whole bunch of trailers and clips that you can look at to view the movie, but that's just one example. Now you talked about silos, so I lived in Nebraska, and so we'll look at so you have these silos. Air Force discusses Nebraska land buy for missile sites. So what you're saying is something that I know firsthand. I remember driving by these sites and it says owned by the U.S. government. But what you're telling me is that the Wagner Group has purchased some land where they actually have
No, please. This is absolutely different. They are not purchasing, they are not what? They are having access codes, emergency access codes, and they can launch ICBMs. Oh, my bad. intercontinental ballistic missiles, and it will pretty much just, you know, be launched, and that's it.
This is in Nebraska. Cold War era missile silo in Nebraska could be yours. So they're I think it was, they say 30 feet underground, right? Here's this, bunker of some sort.
But Jessica, this is not, you are laughing, and my question is, why in the world?
Look at this, Peter. The underground silo is one of 12 within 60 miles of Lincoln. The ones housed an 82-foot tall ICBM. I used to see these things. I used to drive by them. And we'd have discussions about it, because out of nowhere you'd see, farms, and then a big fenced off area. And you're like, well, what is that? And, this is when I was married to someone that was in the military, and he explained to me what was going on. And he had full knowledge of what was going on in his state. But yeah, so Wagner Group.
But I'm talking about Wisconsin, okay?
Yeah. So, all right. So we can look at
Wisconsin and Alaska. It's crazy, geez. Still it is crazy. Jeez.
Yeah, it has there's 4 military bases in Wisconsin, right? Fort McCoy, Badger,
yep.
Army Ammunition, Volk Field, and in Naval State, Great Lakes.
Yeah.
And there are 8. I mean, this is a lot of this information is outdated deliberately, so it's almost information that they're willing to share with the public. It doesn't include everything that actually exists.
Yeah, you are right. You are right. But just by the way, there is one important thing, that Nebraska is neighborhood state with Wyoming. So they are having, Wyoming, Nebraska, and Alaska stuff, in control. Just by the way, it's crazy still. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, here's Cold War defense and its legacy.
Still, it is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, there's still a lot going on over there. And here's the Nike Hercules sites. And so, like I said, this is basic knowledge, so it's not like I'm leaking information. Anyone could, access this information and read about it, but they clearly have a lot more going on than what I'm showing right now. You can see this.
Yeah, you are right. You are right. Very, very right.
So I don't want people to say, "Oh, wow, you're leaking information," and
we are not. We are not.
What you are telling us is that the Wagner Group actually has their own ICBMs in Wisconsin and Alaska.
In Wisconsin, Alaska, and as you said, in Nebraska too. But they are, and just by the way, do you know what is crazy? Because they were installed new in Wisconsin and Nebraska, and I know that in Alaska they were launching also called gray ICBMs. That means they can explode, but without any sort of hydrogen or atomic bomb, So no destruction, no warhead with destructive power, And
So
I'm like, do you know what? And I'm like, this is bad. Once some sort of group, I'm talking about Wagner's, because not only in Russia, all over the place, all over the world, they are taking them as terrorist group. Once they've got such a stuff, access to stuff from US, aye, this is not looking good. This is bad.
Yeah, they have full access to the United States, so they could literally do whatever they wanted if they wanted to take action in the US. It seems like they're dealing with Russia first. So they're not connected at all to the shadow group, are they?
Of course they are. My question is, hey, give me a second. If anything bad happened, anything, okay? My question is, sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but I can't stop.
No, you shouldn't laugh, Peter, because you say that to me all the time.
Yeah, you should. I shouldn't laugh. Long story short, once we are talking about something bad, shadow group is over there. All the time, shadow group is over there. Yeah, I don't like that. I know I shouldn't laugh, but yeah, this is desperate laugh. You know it.
It makes sense because they're leveraging for power right now. And what does your insight tell us? What's going to happen?
It's easy because there is one thing. Prigozhin, big one to Barkov. Nobody believed that Barkov exists. Nobody believed me that Barkov exists. Roman Barkov exists. Nobody. Yeah, nobody until today. Because Barkov, it's pretty much, he's much more powerful than official Wagner Group. Yeah, and Barkov is like, okay, man, if you are full of ego, blah blah blah, if you want to be next DOD, Department of Defense, whatsoever, minister or whatsoever, if you want to be next president, do you know what? Do it yourself. Just I will help you, and just do your stuff. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But my question is, why in the world nobody believed me at that time? No, I mean it for real. Why in the world nobody believed me? Okay, I know you believe me. What is going on?
There it is.
Okay.
There's Roman
my,
bar cup right here. Yeah, so
no, just say me. Why in the world nobody believed me? Nobody.
well,
Yeah,
it
you maybe, yes, you maybe.
yeah, but I've been seeing things happen. You know, when you were talking about how they were going to inject nanotech into people's bodies,
No, please.
nobody
We don't
believed it.
want to have.
Nobody believed it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And then, like, here again, like a few years later, you see people promoting it everywhere, like it was like common knowledge and they were
Yes, please,
understanding it. But
Jessica, please don't use the word because we will be banned.
yeah. Okay. So here's information on the shadow group if people have not seen that. And that's another topic that people are talking about, this shadowy black ops group that is out there doing things without the consent of
No, they
government.
don't have any orders or whatsoever. Do you know what? I'm pissed off. And I once again I will not watch my language. You know, and that's the problem because because Prigozhin, you know, he is full of ego and blah blah, all kind of nonsense, all kind of those blah blah things. But this is like, okay, this is your, I mean, my bad. Barkov is literally like, nah, do you know what? If this is, or if you want this to be your playground, whatsoever, do it. But I've got my own goals. You know what I'm trying to say? And so on and so on and so. Jeez, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean they completely asserted themselves. Maybe they had the plan in some ways. They, you know, started to build their power independently, and there was a lot of trust coming from Putin, allowing them to do some of the things that they were doing, and then they just saw themselves as independent. But they were actually, I think, in one of the articles that I have, they were accusing Putin of actually killing a bunch of the mercenaries as well. And they were like, well, what is going on here? And, or that's the accusation against him, the reason why they are rebelling him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's quite a few articles here. It's not a mystery, you know, it's out there. Oh, I found Lindsay Wagner by accident. There we go. I don't know if she's part of the program.
So that's it. You know, like, if you want to be minister of defense, if you want to be new president, blah blah blah. I mean, because for Barkov, directly from Shadow Group, is just a blah blah. It's just a nonsense. Do you know what I mean? Bumbling. He's got let's say ambitions from a higher perspective. You know, it's literally something like Perseus and then MK Perseus or something like that. Oh my God. It is literally, okay, and I mean it for real, literally, like MK Ultra, and they've got in US, and then they've got Project Perseus in, I mean, former Soviet Union and so on, and once Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, they joined together, like Perseus, Project Perseus, yeah. And you know what is absolutely crazy? I don't know what in the world should I think. I don't know what in the world should I think.
There should be.
No, it was in a video game. That's another problem. That's another problem.
And so it's revealing through the video games. Here again, soft disclosure. They like to brag about what they're doing. They don't want the public to actually believe it. So if you could say, well, it's just a game, it doesn't make any sense how this all happened.
Yep. And that's the problem. On one hand, they want to brag themselves on one hand, as you said, but in that way, then nobody will believe that, because it is video game in the first place, and it is some sort of sci-fi, semi-sci-fi, semi-like first-person shooter whatsoever. It's nah, and that's the problem. You know, I mean, problem. That's their goal. You know, it's like, okay, we will reveal ourselves or our activities, but in that way that nobody will believe that. And that's the problem. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but
no, until you see it happen. So there was this other situation that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Let's see, find it.
Okay.
And
oh, I think we should talk about Escape from Tarkov, but technically I think we talked about that, or not.
No, we should talk, go back to Escape from Tarkov and what is actually happening over in
Rostov. In Rostov.
Yeah,
do you know what is crazy? Even for me, crazy is part of the story, because it's story, okay? How in the world small town with approximately 30,000 inhabitants, just a little bit more than 30,000, can have 1.5 million people living in there? No, be honest with me, okay? How? Because it is from Bleed Roots. Because it is from Bleed Roots, period. And nobody believed that too. Jeez.
So out of nowhere, they have this large population.
Give me a second. Officially, they have only 30,000, but out of nowhere, the town, let's say, do you know what I mean? Like town, calm, everything is fine. I mean, not now. We know that there is ongoing war, but before everything started, you know, it was fine. You know, live or you know, world was how can I say it, running slow and so on, and then all of a sudden, like just like that, you know, and it hit the fan, and it was a huge city, and it's like, what in the world? You know what I'm trying to say? It's crazy. And that's my question. How in the world is was it possible that there was huge fans? It was like more than, give me a second, it's 10. It was like, like 15 feet or something like that. Huge fans made from concrete, solid concrete, and barbed wire and everything, and nobody talked about that. That's my question. What in the world is wrong with those people? It was some sort of ghetto-ish. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And nobody talked about that.
And that's because it's sort of when the bleed through happens, it creates a white.
Give me a second. This is it. What I'm saying. This is when bleed truths, quotes in quotes, came to scene. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You can see all of the like the warfare and all the different things that are happening here in Tarkov. And this was, you said you could see them coming through.
Yeah.
And joining in like the population, and then there was a battle it was is it underground bases or somewhere? I remember you were talking about it.
Do you know what is crazy? Sometimes it's underground dump, but not people are stupid, but DUMB, Deep Underground Military Base. Sometimes it's on ground, sometimes they've got some sort of polygon, so that means even planes can land on the airport or something like that. And sometimes even they've got a lake, or or separate, like they've got Don River. But another, how can I say it, like another, like quotes in quotes, double Don River or something like that. It's so weird. Literally, reality there, it's totally cracked. It's corrupt. It is damned. And this is it. This is how can I say it? This is tax for experiments. I mean, I really want, but I cannot. I still cannot talk about that. It is some sort of tax, or let's say some sort of,
Technology?
How we can call it? How we can call it? Like some sort of
You mean you're saying like some kind of technology that they're using?
some sort of. I am calling it tax, but not tax as money, but some sort of tax.
Oh, tax.
In tax in context of consequences from Soviet experiments. We know.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
And
many,
which is Murkoff, which brings us to Murkoff and that kind of
exactly. We know that many of kind of small cities are literally, my bad, not cities. Small towns are pretty much no-go zones in US. We know that there are many of them, and it's pretty much the same case. Quotes in quotes, tax, aka like consequences of totally screwed reality, or let's say context of existence,
where it's like chaos or violence, or it's dangerous.
Not only chaos, violence, bleed from many realities, and so on and so on. And
so that's weird anomalies.
Yes, weird anomalies. But I mean, that kind of anomalies that you are absolutely out of order. Even, how can I say it? If you will be sent there for whatever reason, and if you, after a certain period of time, when you start to believe that, okay, I start to, how can I say it, quotes in quotes, read in the pattern, and everything will be totally screwed. Do you know what I mean? That's the.
You probably would feel the effects of it, like you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah.
Yeah. And I imagine there's probably a lot of MILABs in those type of areas.
Yeah. And just by the way, in most cases, once how can I say that, like subjects, what is absolutely bad for me. I mean, bad and like inhuman term, but for those scientists and high-ranked military officers, people are not people. No, forget about it. They are just subjects and number. It doesn't matter if we are talking about it in US or Russia, then Soviet Union in the past. Once mission of the subject is over. So do you know what I mean? It's literally like, nah, he or she is useful. They will just wipe him or her out. And of course, before that, they will make on him or on her total recall. But this is it like ultra, or let's say low level total recall. That means like those people can be, or let's say are happy when don't know, like when they can read, on where when they can write, or do you know what I'm trying to say, or when they can count, because they need to go that kind of goddamn deep in the memory. You know what I mean?
To
Because
remember how to, because of their mind wiping is so deep that it affects them that much.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Total mind wipe, like ultra mind wipe. It's, geez, it's I don't like that. No.
Yeah, I've had that where I'm trying to recall information that's very critical, and right in a moment it just pulls it from me. Like it's unbelievable how they can just pull that information right out of your, right in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
And they've done that multiple times.
You know, because once you start to remember, immediately you became big threat for them. No, I mean it for real, okay? It's because for so many people, how can I be more, how should I be precise? They don't take this serious, what I'm talking about. They are like, nah, it's not that big deal. Even if I will start to think about and talk about certain things, and that's the problem. Because, you know, it can be, or then there can be smallest, tiniest details. And if it will jeopardize, quotes in quotes, jeopardize the mission or the operation, and they will know. They will know because they will triangulate them, and aye, bad news bears for those people.
Yeah, well, they've definitely triangulated me a couple times.
Yeah, and I don't want to go more in depth into details, but you told me, you described me at least like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, aye, I know what is going on, or what was going on.
Yep. I mean, well, this is just the basic Montauk area. Why don't you explain to people why it's dangerous to go there? What's going on and how it can affect people? Because it wasn't just for me.
Okay, it's pretty easy because they are sorry, my bad. We need to, first things first, okay? They were, like, sorry guys, people, but I need to start from very first. In the late 40s, let's say early 50s, yeah, it is like that. They start to, yeah, late 40s, yeah, 1946.
Yeah.
DOD, so Department of Defense, through, or let's say via CIA, and then there was no DARPA at that time. There was similar organization. I don't want to talk about that because it is still secret. Screw that. So it was that kind of complicated. Long story short, they ordered some sort of, how can I say it, massive testing of reaction of people in extremely high density populated area, and they just start to hitting and hitting and hitting, you know, from transceiver with crazy amounts of power. It was very frequent, the power was huge, and they start to observe really weird anomalies in people's behavior. And it was massive. It was massive. And just by the way, the most, how can I say it, famous, but in very bad way, it was in 80s, especially second half of 80s, when 80%, so 4 out of 5 homeless people from New York, New York City, they disappeared out of nowhere. It was
like the Philadelphia experiment.
Pretty much. But it was like, what in the world is going on? Where all those people go? Like it was less than 2 years. It was like, don't know, 1.5 year, in between 1 year and 1.5 year. It was like 1985, 86, something like that. And then those people practically disappeared. I mean, yeah, of course, there still remains a lot of them, but you know, once we are talking about 80% disappears, it was a lot. It was a big deal. And once somebody dared to talk about that, it was bad news bears for those people. And those people, those homeless people, they were taken to made experiments on them. It was crazy. I mean, who in the world, that's my question, okay? Who in the world gave them a right to do such a stuff?
So when they disappear, do they know who is taking them into those other places?
Please, it was literally, it was like, I don't know, for example, they were in those small, very tight alleys. Do you know what I mean? Small, do you know what I'm trying to say? Once they were sleeping with no, without any sort of proper stuff to live, and so on. And most of them was light that okay, you will have better, you will go chance for better life, and so on. And do you know what is crazy? That there is this video game, and it's pretty much the same case scenario. What is the name? It's Outlast Trials. But pretty much they started like in where? They started in 60s. I mean, collecting patients in 60s and in late 50s, early 60s, and they stopped collecting. They calling it like that, collecting people in late 80s, but according our knowledge, when I need to be fair to our listeners, in ACIO, they are still making these crazy crap experiments. It's effed up, you know. Or maybe Rolf can make peep. It is f***ed up.
So, Peter, this essentially you're saying that people, by going to that region just because they have this
And give me a second, please. Give me a second. Montauk project started in like 60s, mid 60s, and
right.
they, or maybe mid or
it said
first half.
66, but probably before then, because it's related to the Philadelphia project, right?
Yeah, but give me a second. Officially, they started like in 60s.
So 64 here, but yeah.
Yeah, 63, 64.
Oh, wait a minute. Participation against his will, Nichols born. That's when Nichols was born. This is, it doesn't show the exact date when they did that. Philadelphia.
Yes, long story short, it was, yeah, give me a second. It was 63 because it was 20 years after Philadelphia experiment, and I will say why. Because they made the jump. Do you know what I mean? One step. 20 years and back. Yeah, okay.
So give me some examples of what can happen to you if you go and visit Montauk without you realizing.
Give me a second. So they started to make patients, or I don't know, subjects and so on and so on, but the craziest part of the whole project was in 80s. It was, I don't know what it was, inhuman, it was humiliating, it was, simply it was bad.
Yeah, really that's bad. Where you get Preston Nichols and Al Bielek were involved, and
oh yeah. Do you know what?
And then, Peter Moon wrote about it.
Give me a second. You asked me what can happen. Okay. A question is, what shouldn't happen to you? Because it can, affect your mind. I mean, if you will be sane at all, and I mean it for real, okay? It can, I don't know, cause cancer in the weakest part of your body, weakest organ in your body, or so. I don't know. There are plenty of stuff what can happen. Okay.
Plus, then you can be taken for MyLapse as well.
Oh, yeah, and that's most main reason. Yeah, and just by the way, once we are talking about what is going on in Russia and pretty much how it is, or how it will impact Russian-Ukrainian war and so on, and escape from Tarkov. Just by the way, they were changing and interchanging patients, let's say subjects. They MK Ultra / Perseus, right? So people from US to Soviet Union, and from Soviet Union to US people. I mean, I will not blame you if you will not believe that, but I'm just saying how it was.
Well, you're saying that some things are interchangeable. I want to show you something.
Okay.
In the, I believe it's the Escape from Tarkov, and they start talking about the gameplay, and then it goes down to the setting, and they talk about, by the way, they talk about Shoreline, which I don't know if that's the corporation that they're referring to.
That's the corporation we were talking about plenty of times. Yep.
In the past, yep.
Yep.
And then they talk down here, right? So they said There are 2 PMC factions for players to choose in the game. United States, USEC, a Western-based company hired by a corporation known as the Terra Group to cover up the company's illegal activities, and Bear, a company created by the Russian government to investigate activities. So I want to show you, just hold on a second, and I'm going to show you something that I thought was interesting. And where is it? So here is Blackwater, and they also have the Bear. So is Blackwater involved with this whole Wagner Group, Tarkov?
I know.
You saying yes?
Yeah, you know it is crazy. Isn't this crazy?
You got Eric Prince and the Navy SEALs and private military contractors, very similar to the Wagner Group, right?
Yeah.
It's over here. Yeah. So there's a lot to look at here, Peter, and it's all of these different projects kind of creating bleed-throughs, creating traumas, introducing people in our reality that don't belong here, sending people from our reality out, like in Montauk, sending out the homeless, as you said, whereas the bleed-through is sending people from another context of existence into our reality.
That's another problem, yeah.
But they're all from bleed-throughs, right? From experimentation in altering.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to say about, because aside from that, thank you for, being strong enough to share information that people don't readily believe in the beginning.
But my question is, what in the world should we do? I mean, to be honest, okay, I don't care if people will like it or not, and I will say you why. Because if I should say something what isn't true just because I want to be popular, I mean, nah, I will not do it. Nope, this is not my style, and you know it. No, I mean it for real. Yeah.
I have something else that I wanted to share, and
go ahead and do it.
Rolf is going to have to edit this, so hold on a second. We're going to get back in here. And either that or, we start talking, I'll stop to share screen. Here we go. So I'm going to be looking up something else that I wanted to share. And it is related to some other links that I have related to video games that also, let's see, we're going to open that up. And related to, current events that are happening now. So just one more link that I have to open up, and I will be there. So yeah, Peter, I mean, the explanation. So what do you think the outcome is going to be regarding his challenges? I
don't know, to be honest. I don't know.
So that part you don't know yet what's going to happen.
No, I mean, I don't want to fool you, but that's the last stuff what I want, but I'm just saying it will be crazy. What I know, it will be crazy.
So you think will it be dangerous, bad?
Yeah, it will be. I don't want to say bad or dangerous, but the things will change, let's say.
Does Putin lose power, or can we not say that either way?
No, for me, I don't want to be that kind of, how can I say it? That kind of sure about that. No.
So still, even though that you can see into the future, things are in this reality, because it plays out in different ways in different realities. But in this reality, you're not sure.
Different case scenarios, you know.
Right. So we don't know 100%. You do know that something was going to pivotal happen at this point, but you don't know exactly what the outcome is because it depends on how our reality takes in the information and how they set things.
Yeah, so, exactly.
I'm going to shift the conversation briefly, but it's kind of along the same lines of what we've been talking about. So there was this big incident, which a lot of people felt was a distraction because of other things that were happening in the U.S. But this sub with Titanic sub that would go and visit the location where the wreckage was of the Titanic and how it landed on the ground, you know, or like these very wealthy people that were doing this for entertainment purposes to want to understand what happened to maybe they had ancient relatives that were participating in these spaces. So, you know, here is the vehicle that they were in, and then of course it didn't end very well. But what was interesting is to further confirm what we've been saying all along, there was a game that was created in 2022, first-person submarine simulation horror game.
Yep, you are
and
right.
How this whole thing happened. And you know, 2022, he's pretty much telling what was going to happen in this situation, even to the point where he actually apologized and said, you know, I didn't realize it, obviously. So what are your thoughts on that, Peter?
Technically, this is another stuff what I talk about. I mean, we talked about that kind of things plenty of times and nobody believed that. You know it.
This is exactly like what was that challenging, such as depletion of oxygen supply, burst of steam.
Yeah, you are right.
All these things that, you know, undoubtedly happened while they were there because they ran out of oxygen. And, you know, here is the situation. And, you know, I mean, what are you going to say to something like this? People have to start paying attention to what's going on.
You are very,
we didn't even talk about this. Did not even talk about this game, but clearly. All right, so why don't you share with us, if you have insight or, you know, knowledge, what happened to these people?
They were safely, how can I say it? Safely, what? Shifted to another reality, let's talk it that way.
And was any corporation involved in doing this?
Nope.
Is this a part of like an underwater a gateway?
Pretty much you are right, yeah.
Do you know what reality that is that they went into?
And that's the problem. I don't know. No, I don't know. I really don't know.
You just saw that those the people themselves escaped, but maybe they thought they were coming back to our reality, but they didn't. They went into some other reality, but they're alive.
Yeah, you are right. You are right.
Yeah, because they called it Ocean Gate. They called it Ocean Gate. Do you think that the people that orchestrated this, they knew that this was going to happen, like they moved these people into another reality?
Exactly.
Because there was a billionaire there, maybe someone, you know, was probably going to inherit that money. I thought maybe there was some foul play.
Nope, there is not.
Okay, and
from my point of view, there is not. Nope.
Is this like an Atlantis gate? Because we did talk about Stargate Atlantis recently.
Okay.
Is it an Atlantis gate?
No. Why?
It's just another gate that's in the coast.
But give me a second. What do you mean by Atlantis gate? That's my question.
Like a gateway to Atlantis, because
we're
in the Atlantic Ocean.
Not like that, no.
Okay.
No.
So this is just like kind of a natural portal underwater that is existed for years and has always been there, but nobody built it that, people know of?
Yeah, you are right.
Or is
Yeah.
or is it something that the military created?
Oh, it existed, like many years, thousands pretty much.
Yeah. Well, they have incidences where, people have traveled over to the United States years ago. Sometimes the ships were missing.
Yeah,
that's a
that's
thing.
true.
Yeah.
You are
So
very right.
yeah, I mean it's a multi-question, kind of topic, but this is exactly what we've been talking about for years is, the correlation between the video games and soft disclosure. And we will continue talking about it until people start getting it. And then because we're beginning to be able to prove it more and more as time goes on, just like the Wuhan situation was another big example where we weren't even out there publicly, but we've been talking about it. And a bunch of young kids said it. So
yeah, you are you are right. Yeah, you are very right.
And we'll keep talking about it. People acknowledge that, what we've been saying all along, which is it's fine. I mean, we want to get the information out. We want people to keep their eyes open. And also we want to, let people, give them a heads up of what's coming, and as well as precautionary measures regarding Montauk and places like that have a lot of activity. So yeah, I think unless there's anything else you want to talk about, there was one last thing.
Okay.
People don't know.
Talk about just go ahead and talk about that.
There's the Metro video game. I don't know if we do Exodus or so this is the Metro game that we were talking about as well. And so if Escape from Tarkov doesn't get resolved, then we'll probably end up in the Metro reality, which is really bad.
Yeah. We don't want to end up in Metro reality. Believe me.
So that's kind of like, we don't want to cross into that point. But you notice this is like a portal here. Here's another, you have this circular portal.
Yeah, you are right. We don't want to be like that. And we don't want to be even close to a circular portal. Yeah, you are. Oh my God. No. Oh my. No. Yeah.
We had recently we had those fires and everything, and there is a let's see if I can find it. So Montreal has this, which is close to Quebec, where all the fires started.
Yep.
And you have this big, huge ring like that, and it looks
and that makes actually a sense, to be honest with you. No, I mean it for real. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So explain in what way that makes sense to you.
That makes sense for me. That in Montreal they are way too close for comfort. Do you know what I mean?
They have bleed-throughs happening there?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you called me when I was there in Montreal saying that there was a problem in Montreal, but you didn't know I was there.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked Taino to go there. And I was already there.
Tyson, yeah.
Tyson, yeah. So
oh
we
my,
have.
oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my! I don't like that.
I believe it's another.
What?
There's another one. Let's see if I can find this one too. There was a circular portal. I'll have to get a. I think it was in. Maybe it's in Detroit.
Okay.
Because that's the Midwest then, where you were saying that there was issues happening.
Yeah.
And I'll have to look it up. But yeah, there was another portal there, and which was showing, something similar to like what you have here in Montreal. And
Yeah.
so because there's no reason for them to have that there. But
Right.
That was another thing, Peter, you brought up, that there was they were able, the Wagner Group was able to transport large military vehicles and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, teleport. They said that there were 6,000 warheads missing, and that
please, not warheads missing. The control system over them.
which means what?
Please, you don't understand? They don't have control over them. But I mean,
Russia's lost control over them. Putin,
Yeah.
we'll say it like that. And then you said that they have Wagner has the ability to transport 800 to 1,000 miles, transporting technology or whatever they need, but sometimes they have to
give me a
fix
second.
it.
Let's say between 13 and 1,600 kilometers with no problem, or let's say without any sort of big problem, from like 1,200, so approximately like slightly less than 2,000 kilometers, it can be the problem. But the most part of the, let's say, sensitive stuff, it can be, or it will be, what? It will be sensitive for certain technology. Do you know what I mean? That's the stuff.
Right. So sometimes the technology doesn't survive the teleport, or they can sometimes it can be retrieved by fixing it or working on whatever might be broken, but the teleport is not 100% perfect yet. Yeah, which is, and you wonder, I mean, that's old technology that they've been using for, I know that, like, in Egypt they have these pyramids, in South America they have pyramids. So obviously they not only did they travel, but I actually saw them teleport back and forth whenever they felt like it, it was two different communities that were connected. So I know this kind of stuff has been going on for years, but they're using it in military, unfortunately, instead of using it for something else. But you talked about
for something good, yeah.
Yeah, you've talked about this like in the very beginning when I started talking to you about how, there were vehicles that were showing up from other contexts of existence in our reality.
Yeah.
And that you saw that they had these, someone else had teleport, I don't know, maybe it was like CERN or something like that, where they could actually send over larger vehicles and a lot of like an army if they wanted.
Yep.
Into another reality. Was that CERN or something else that you were mentioning?
Yeah, you are right.
So you've been saying this for years about how, like, different things were showing up here from other places, and we even had some footage and different things that didn't make any sense at all. and that you explained it for us. So, and of course, then the scientists always have an excuse because they want to calm people down, and if they make it sound scientific, then I'm not discrediting science. I think science is critical in all of this, but it doesn't explain everything. And there's other.
You are right. Definitely not.
Right. Yeah, because they're only going to give the public information that they're allowed to give them, as opposed to the public thinking outside the box and seeing that.
I really like that, outside the box. Sorry,
yeah.
Amy. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I think that's it for today. What do you think?
Yeah, so Peter, thank you so much for, being here with us today and explaining everything and sharing all of your information.
Yeah, so I want to say hello to all of our regular and maybe not so regular listeners. I want to say thank you for their patience to be till the end with us. And I want to say thank you for, giving me another opportunity to be on your channel, and I'm looking forward for next time. Till then, bye-bye.
And thank you everyone for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe, and also thank you for your support on Patreon. It's very much appreciated. You are loved and appreciated, and also highest intention for humanity for all of us. Stay well and stay strong and continue to learn and grow. Until next time, have a good day.
You have been listening to the Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Marrocco. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Visit www.acio-agency.org and www.readingsbyarael.com. Post your questions and comments below. We look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to support our work. All the links can be found in the description. Thank you.